Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here at the Nourishing Power Fellowship information session. This session will be recorded. Feel free to type in the chat your name and organization or affiliation so we can get a better sense of who is joining us today. So over the next 30 minutes, our goal is to clarify the goals and the application process for the Nourishing Power Fellowship. So we'll start by reviewing what the Nourishing Power Network is, and then we'll go into the details of the fellowship, including who it's for, what the benefits are, the schedule of events, and the application process. And then you'll get the chance to hear from Don Gaddis, a fellow who'd recently graduated from the program, and Angelina Bell, who was a mentor for one of the fellows in this past cohort. And they'll reflect on their experiences in the fellowship over the past year. And then we'll end by opening the floor for a Q&A session and discussion time. And our team will stay on until 7 p.m. for anyone who has any lingering questions. Okay. So the Nourishing Power Network has a bold vision to root and grow a local food system that promotes freedom, hope, and dignity in food traditions, resulting in holistic health in body, mind, and spirit for Black, Latinx, Asian, and Indigenous communities. And when we say food system, we're talking about all steps involved in getting the food that you want in order to thrive. As you can see in these photos, this includes actions related to growing, distributing, selling, sharing, preparing, and eating food. And our mission at the Nourishing Power Network is to test ways to bridge community power with organizational power to spark and expand food justice initiatives led by the community. The Nourishing Power Network is part of a community action-oriented research project. And over the next 3 years, we hope to learn together through this network. So the key questions guiding our work include, if we cultivate welcoming spaces for community building, will it spark and expand food justice in Greater Cleveland? If we support community-led action with financial and technical resources, will it tip the food system to fairness? And if we root and grow community ownership of local food systems, will it promote equity, vibrancy, and holistic health? This network will provide scaffolding for addressing longstanding challenges like food insecurity and unfair access to food stores in our neighborhoods with outside of the box and collaborative approaches. But the real work and impact of the network will be shaped in collaboration with you and others committed to making a local food system that works for all. So we're still in the beginning phases of forming the network. It's been a little over a year now since the network has really begun. So we're excited to continue to engage more and more people in this process. There's 4 ways to engage with the Nourishing Power Network based on your interests, experiences, and capacity. So I'll review these in counterclockwise order. First, the Nourishing Power Advisory Council will provide leadership to the network overall throughout the study. Second, the Nutrition Equity Fund, which recently launched, will provide grant funding for collaborative and creative food justice projects led by the community. Third, we host quarterly networking events to bring together local food justice leaders, share stories and talent, grow capacity, and trusting relationships. And then our next networking event is this Saturday, June 17th from 12 to 5 p.m. We are going to have a table at the Juneteenth on Buckeye celebration, which is hosted by Julian Kahn. And it's free and open to the public. There's no registration. So feel free to stop by and visit the Nourishing Power table and you can learn more about the program. We will also be starting some new networking opportunities that are going to be virtual, called Lunch and Learn Technical Assistance Sessions. So those will be on Zoom 3 times per year, and their first session will be August 11th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. And I'll add the link in the chat to register for that. The 4th part of the network is the Nourishing Power Fellowship, which is the focus of our session and info session tonight. And lastly, I would like to highlight the, we'll go back to this slide, the co-leads. of the Nourishing Power Network. So this is a partnership between the Sweatland Center at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, Neighborhood Connections, and the FAIR Project. Tom O'Brien from Neighborhood Connections and Morgan Taggart from the FAIR Project are co-leads of the study. And you can scan the QR code here to learn more about the initiative. Morgan, I'm going to turn it over to you to dive into more details of the fellowship.
Thanks, Linnea. Hi, everybody. It's good to be with you. So we're going to share a little bit more about the fellowship. And here we go. So we've got a couple of flyers and promotional pieces that we've put together. We've got a one-pager here about the fellowship that shares kind of some basic information as well as a link so you can apply online or contact us if you have more information. We're going to walk through this step by step tonight. We also, on our next slide, have a more detailed two-pager that kind of highlights the goals, some of the benefits of the teams that will be participating in the fellowship, as well as some of those key dates. So if you want copies of either of these sent to you, just let me or Linnea know, and we can connect you with these flyers, or even printed. Can we do printed too, Linnea? People want to do some flyering? Cool. We can do that as well. So just let us know. So now Linnea and I are going to kind of tag team and walk through some of the different pieces of the fellowship. So what you might notice for this round of the fellowship, which is for 2023-2024, we're focused on engaging teams. Teams of 2 would participate in the fellowship itself. You might have a team of 3 or 4, but we would have 2 representatives that would participate in the fellowship. Don't worry, Regina, we've got time. Yeah, she put in the chat, hi, I'm interested, but I'm not a part of a team. That's okay. Let's keep talking. We expect that, I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to give a long application period for a couple of months. So if you have an idea and there might be somebody you've thought about working with or someone new in your network or want to make a connection, you've got the time to do that over the next 2 months until the application is due. So let's spend some time on Q&A kind of connecting about that, and we can talk that through more. Our real focus in terms of a cohort theme is really around sparking and expanding supply and demand, as you can see here, for foods created by Asian, Black, Indigenous, and Latin OAX food growers and makers. And so we've got just some kind of basic questions here in terms of figuring out if this is right for your team. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide as well. So we've got kind of some just like introductory questions for you to think about. There's really not one thing that makes a team the right fit for the Nourishing Power Fellowship, but we wanted to put together some questions so you could really think about, is this the right opportunity for you and your team? So we've got 4 kind of key questions here. And again, we're looking at a team as 2 people who've got a shared interest and a common goal, some experience partnering with each other or knowing each other, a commitment to working together, and that both members are available to take part in all the sessions. And we can talk more about that as well. So we will be accepting up to 5 teams for this round of the fellowship. So some of the kind of initial questions that you might want to ask yourself if you're thinking about if this is the right opportunity for you. Number 1, are you a team of 2 that is passionate about increasing access to culturally relevant and nutritious foods created by Asian, Black, Indigenous, Latin food growers and makers? Is your team committed to working together to move your ideas or vision for food justice into a plan of action in the cities of Cleveland or East Cleveland? Do you want to learn with others to spark and expand access to culturally relevant, nutritious foods? Has your team worked in the past, or do you have any experience expanding freedom, hope, and dignity in food traditions within the Asian, Black, Indigenous, and Latin communities. So these are just some of the questions that we're encouraging applicants to think about. Do you have the passion around increasing access? Do you want to move your ideas into action? Are you connected or from Cleveland or East Cleveland? And are you interested in collaborating and learning with others in the fellowship? Because one of the values that we learned in this round is just the opportunity to work with others who might be working on similar projects as you might be proposing, are in the fellowship together to build connections with each other. So some of the kind of key information around criteria that we will be looking at as we review applications is one member of your team has to live in Cleveland or East Cleveland, and we prefer that both applicants live or work in Cleveland or East Cleveland. Fellows must be 18 years of age or older. And then we're prioritizing applicants and teams of people who identify as Asian, Black, Indigenous, or Latin, and people who are committed to making the food system work better for these groups and their food growers and makers. So some of the benefits of being a part of the fellowship, and we've got some photos here of some of our fellows in action, both with their projects and in the fellowship itself. One of the main benefits is increasing your team's ability to work together and igniting your vision for food justice. So we've got several sessions throughout the fellowship program that really help you formulate your vision, formulate your plan of action, identify roles and partners, strengths of your team, as well as strengths you might be looking for in the network that Nourishing Power can help connect you to. Each person or member of that team will receive a $1,500 stipend in 5 monthly payments to provide some support to you as you're making your way through the fellowship. You'll also get coaching and feedback, both from the liaison. Linnea, myself, and our other co-facilitator will serve as your liaison, providing support and coaching throughout the fellowship program, but you'll also be paired with a mentor that can really provide some expertise and help you answer questions and get connected to resources during the fellowship, as well as for a few months after the fellowship. And Angelina is going to talk a little bit more about her experience as a mentor. As Linnea mentioned, we also do quite a bit of networking in Nourishing Power, both with other fellows in the class, as well as the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. And then we have our quarterly networking events as well, in addition to a lot of one-on-one connections that the whole Nourishing Power team is really trying to make that could add value to your project throughout the term of the fellowship. We also work on skill building, everything from practicing your pitches to developing one-page summaries of your project, helping align you with partners, identify funding sources, how to put proposals together. So really focusing on some concrete skills that can take that idea into the action phase. And then finally, we wrap it up with a graduation ceremony and a certificate of completion of the fellowship program. So what's it like to be a fellow in the Nourishing Power Fellowship? So we anticipate that maybe at minimum, you're spending 10 hours per month, or maybe on average, moving your team's vision into action. And how that breaks down over the course of the 6 months is we have on average about 2 sessions a month together throughout the fellowship. We start off with an orientation session, kind of getting you used to some of the technology that we use through Basecamp to communicate and share documents and files with you, as well as walking you through kind of the handbook and the schedule of class topics and what the liaisons can support with and what mentors can support. And then we really begin to engage deeper in a series of 9 workshops that really focus on skill building, coaching, feedback, and then we help you move into action planning, setting SMART goals and objectives over the next 6 to 12 months to really help you take those steps forward to make your vision for food justice come to reality. Then we've also got 6 mentoring sessions, and your mentor, through that matching process, we try and pair people based on their preferences to really connect them with someone they feel like they've got a good kind of set of skills that they can contribute to their project, and a good personality fit as well. And those mentors provide one-to-one feedback, connections to other folks in their network, and a lot of really, I think, other opportunities that Angelina can speak to based on her experience. This is also a community action research project. So what that means is you'll also be participating in 3 evaluation interviews as a fellow, and you will be provided additional compensation outside of the stipend for each of those interviews. And then you will finish with a graduation ceremony where we really bring everybody together to celebrate your vision, share your story with others, and really try and pack that room with friends, family, and potential supporters of your vision and your plan for food justice as you move into the action phase. So here's a snapshot of what the cohort schedule will look like. The fellowship will actually begin at the end of November, and then we'll wrap up May 8th with graduation. But your mentorship will continue after graduation for a few months to really help provide that support that you need as you transition out of the fellowship and start working on some of those action steps that you developed as part of your planning process. We've got the workshop schedule here. Most of these sessions are in person, with the exception of the orientation in the beginning. And then we also do a one-on-one session together with you for your vision board, and those will also be over Zoom. All of those other classes will be Wednesdays, 5:30 to 8, and we will provide dinner. I'm going to turn it back over to Linnea with the process and some key dates.
Thanks, Morgan. Okay. So yeah, now we're going to talk about the application process for this year. And so the application will be live tomorrow. And we'll add the link to our website probably early tomorrow morning. So, but I am on one of the slides coming up. There is a QR code that you can scan right now that'll take you to the application so you can see what it looks like. And I also have like a screenshot of it as well. So as Morgan mentioned earlier, the application is going to close on August 11th. So it's open for about 2 months. If you have any questions after tonight, like maybe you go in to start working on the application with your partner on your team, and you have questions about it, or something doesn't make sense, or you're not sure how to answer it, we are going to have 2 office hours sessions, which is an opportunity for people to ask questions and get assistance with the application. So the first one will be June 29th from 6 to 7 p.m. And the other one is July 20th from 12 to 1 p.m. And those are both on Zoom. At the end during the Q&A session, I'm going to add like all the links to the chat. So you'll be able to click there and register, but it is in the same spot on campus groups where you registered for tonight's info session. And then we will be inviting applicants for interviews August 28th through September 12th. Hopefully we can get those interviews in that last week of August, but it just depends on everybody's availability. And those will be interviews on Zoom, and they'll take approximately 30 minutes, maybe 45. And both team members would need to be there for the interview. And then 2 to 3 members of our team, the Nourishing Power staff, will be interviewing each team that applies. And candidates will be notified by September 29th, whether they've been accepted into the fellowship or not. If you have any questions, you can always contact us at this email address, nourishingpower@case.edu. So this is what the very beginning, the first page of the fellowship will look like. You can scan this QR code if you want now. If you want to take a look at the application, it'll take you directly to the RedCap platform. And from there, you'll see a screen that looks like this, says like, welcome to the application. So sometimes some people have had difficulty depending whether you're using like an iPad or a laptop or whatever to fill out the application. Sometimes it's easier to type up your responses in like a Word document. And it's easier for like grammatical errors. It'll check that better in Word or Google Docs. And then you can paste it into the form if you want. That's up to you. So some portions of the application are meant to be completed together as a team, and then other portions are meant to be completed as each individual of the team. So this first section, it'll start with some screening questions, which both members of the team will be filling out together and answering as a team. And depending on your responses to those screening questions, you will either get a message that says, based on your responses, you don't seem to be a good fit for the Nourishing Power Fellowship, or you'll get a green light and it'll take you to the rest of the application where you can continue filling it out. And I think the next section will be the demographic questions, and it's going to ask you, your name, your email, phone number, and different questions about gender, race, ethnicity, and all of that. So those will be completed. I think the first section is for team member 1, so you'll fill that out, and then your second team member will fill out the next section with the demographic questions. So filling those out as individuals, and then the rest of the application, and it'll say in parentheses, like it says here, screening questions together, for any sections that you should complete as a team. So there will be some essay questions in there. And then a few other questions where you can click like multiple check boxes, and so you'll be filling out those sections as a team. And then when you get to the end of the application, you'll click submit, and it'll automatically redirect you to our Nourishing Power Network new partner form. So please fill this out after you finish your application, because that's going to add you to the Nourishing Power newsletter. You'll be getting updates about what's going on with the network, and notifications of when the next networking event is, and also like just gets you connected with other members of the network. You can also save your application at any point. So if you don't have time to finish it, you can save it, and then there's a button at the very bottom of the screen that says save and return. So you can click it and then come back at any time. It'll send you an email from RedCap, and then you can click on that link and go back to the application where you left off. Okay. So yeah, some tips for applying online. Review the flyer, the information sheet, our website, everything we have on there, just to learn more about the fellowship. And obviously, if you're attending tonight or watching this later on, you'll be hearing pretty much everything you need to know about the fellowship. And let's see, yeah, making sure you have good internet connectivity when you apply. I would recommend, if you're sitting down and writing all those essay questions, it's probably a good idea to click save and return later. And then you can click on that link and go back to working on it, just so you don't lose any progress, if you lose internet access or your computer crashes. So, and then, like I mentioned earlier, you can attend those office hours on Zoom if you have questions about the application process. Okay. Right. So now it's time to hear from a graduate of the first cohort of the Nourishing Power Fellowship and one of our mentors. So I'm excited to introduce you to 2 changemakers committed to activating food justice. First, we'll hear from Don Gaddis, who is a graduate of the 2022 to 2023 cohort of the fellowship. He's a contractor and community garden owner with a bachelor's degree in business administration focused on organizational management. He's the former executive director of Central Community Co-op and is an enthusiast for all things local food. His greatest interest and aspiration is to connect resources to residents and to create equitable access to abundant, basic nutritional foods for all the communities of the city of Cleveland. His project, North Star CLE, is a website that serves as both a network hub and resource directory. It increases access by connecting residents to local businesses and organizations with the nutritious foods they produce. Okay, Don, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're just going to ask you a few questions. So Don, the first question is, why did you join the fellowship?
Well, initially, I had experience in the local food industry, helping to increase access to communities that had been divested of some of these basic nutritional foods and things like that. And it was the opportunity for me to give back to the city for things that I had benefited from as a kid. I grew up poor, and I thought it was a great opportunity to really get involved in the community. And recently, after growing so many years, I wanted to get back into the local food industry and try to find a way to really plug in my gift and create some kind of benefit for the system, some kind of project that could benefit the system and the residents.
Thanks, Doc.
How did the fellowship help grow your vision for food justice?
Ooh, I think the greatest thing that they offered was nuance. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do. As a matter of fact, 10 years ago, I had the idea, but the fellowship really focused on detail. It focused on all the little important issues that from the beginning to the end, I may not have thought about or I may not have considered deeply enough in order to make this a sustainable idea, it's sustainable business, a sustainable program. And the whole idea that this was a collective effort, it wasn't just me, it was the idea of some brilliant people that were behind me. It gave me a lot more confidence than I had walking into it.
What is one thing that you want others to know about the fellowship experience?
Uh, Buckle your seatbelts because it will challenge you. You have an idea. There's a possibility that it could benefit your community in a positive way. But you also have a team of advisors, liaisons, fellowship participants, mentors who will challenge those thoughts. They will expand your strengths. They will give you some new ideas, new ways to look at it, and overall expand it and make it something that's viable. And it was good to hear that others were as um, excited about my project as I was, and they gave me more ideas, and I juxtaposed my ideas with what was out there, and I'm pretty excited right now. I'm a lot stronger than I was before I came into the fellowship, and I have a lot more connections. So the friendships that you make and the sessions that you go through will literally cause you to look deeper at the ideas that you have.
Thank you, Don.
What skills and connections did you gain through the fellowship?
Skills and connections. Team building was probably the most. I'm kind of a solitary creature. I have this whiteboard on the inside of my head that I write all of my ideas on, and I go over and I go over. But it's different when you have someone else looking at it from a different perspective. It gives you a different new way of seeing things. Um, and use my strengths and my ideas and the ideas of others to kind of expand your project or kind of expand the parameters of the way you see things. Um, you never really think that your focus is limited until you have a team behind you helping you to flesh it out and make sure you set some goals. So now I'm literally using that process not only in my project but in my work, making sure that I'm solely focused on the goal and that I'm paying particular attention to the details, hitting each mark within a certain amount of time and making it realistic. It's exciting. You're never going to um, fall down because you have a team around you, and it's kind of comforting knowing that the team building approach is as is as motivating as it is.
So thank you so much, Don. We're going to hear from Angelina next, and then afterwards we'll have like open question and answer time so we can hear more from you. So Angelina Bell is a member of the Nourishing Power Advisory Council and a mentor for one of the fellows of the cohort. Angelina is a mother, local business owner, Humble Mornings Coffee Company, and a food activist. Locally sourced and supporting minority women is her thing. She also loves shopping at farmers markets, eating at local restaurants, and attending community events. She understands the value of the local food, the local dollar, and the impact on so thank you, Angelina, for joining us. First question is, why did you apply to become a mentor for a fellow?
Why did I apply to become a mentor for a fellow? Because I have a lot of knowledge to offer in like the food business, like entrepreneur in the entrepreneur space. So I felt like versus someone paying a lot of money, I can just give it to you the free game for you to have a head start. For so when you hit the ground, you go running.
Thank you.
What did you learn from the mentoring experience?
What did I learn from the mentor experience? I learned a lot. I got a lot of new friends, right? Like Shirley and Michael Walton. I have learned on like just listening to other people's perspective, right? And applying it to yours, to your way of thinking, because everybody on the board comes from different walks of life in different areas. So it's just about actually listening. And what did we say? We lean in, right? Lean into the conversation to understand their perspective, understand their concerns, and and versus coming with a rebuttal, come with a solution. Yeah, that's what I learned for sure.
And how does mentoring impact the fellow?
It gives them the resources that they need, even if it's network capital, like money capital, sometimes a little pep talk to get them through rough patches, just support, support them in the way that they need to be supported in.
And last but not least, why should people consider applying for the fellowship?
They will get a new perspective on the food, like how we receive food in the inner city of Cleveland. They would get well connected. They would meet new people that would be able to support their idea. And if they are not able to support it directly, they know someone who can help support their idea. And they would get the solid skills, like you said earlier, that they would receive about the business planning, because they would have a solid foundation to move up. They will have everything in order. They would know about the licensing, the permits, whatever that they trying to do. If someone in the network will be able to get their issue solved. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing, Angelina.
No problem.
Okay. So now, again, thank you everyone for joining us this evening or watching online later if you weren't able to attend live to learn more about the Nourishing Power Fellowship. We're going to stay on for a little while to answer any additional questions that you may have. So I'm just going to open up the floor, jump in or pop questions in the chat and try to answer them best we can.
Oh, great question. Don, I feel like you would be the best person for this question. She is asking, are there sessions more like working sessions or more like lectures? What would you say to that?
I would say that they're more like working sessions. People have different learning styles and some work better for others. And this one is a working session to the degree that you get personal attention from the liaisons, later on the mentors. You also get a chance to chat back and forth with the other participants or the other fellows that are involved. And you get a chance to see not only how they look at your project and they sort of, again, try to expand the vision that you have, but you see also how it applies to the other fellows and the approach that they take with bringing it to life. It's always true that the way you see something is a narrow view of it. It's a solo myopic view until you get around the team and you can see how big that it can become. And that is an awesome experience. We laughed a lot. There was a lot of questions like, what is your secret sauce that makes you fit for that particular project? And it makes you look at yourself and see your strengths, see your weaknesses, and you have a team of people around you that applaud you, that correct you, and it's a good experience. It is such a great experience. I'm still very close to almost all of those fellows, and I wish that we can stay in contact.
And I saw your comment, Regina, about being having more of an introverted learning style. And I think what we try and do in the class is create a welcoming, inclusive space for everybody. I think we probably had the full spectrum of introverted to extroverted personalities in that class in terms of learning style, how they communicate, and really saw that as complementary. You know, people might be kind of quiet, but then they offer a nugget and you're just like, wow, you've actually been listening this whole time and processing, and that was worth its weight in gold. I see, Don, you're kind of nodding, maybe remembering some of those moments. So yeah, we really just try and create a space for support, constructive feedback, opportunities for you to reflect, improve, make mistakes, bring out challenges, you know, a learning environment that we hope can meet you where you're at and help support the project that you want to do.
Yeah, and I know like in several of the sessions, we tried to include some like breakout opportunities where fellows could work like one-on-one with just one fellow, move people to different corners of the room so they could have kind of a private conversation. And we also tried to, whenever we had breakout sessions like that, pair fellows together who might have like a similar project that they're working on, just to encourage fellows to collaborate with each other. And